You may have heard the line from the Heart Sutra, "Form is only emptiness, emptiness only form." It gets repeated quite a lot, this. It's such a beautiful phrase, and it's pointed to a deep truth in experience. But really, you might have asked yourself, what the heck is emptiness? Like, what is it talking about? What do you mean emptiness? And the way that emptiness is spoken about often, and I mean the modern interpretation, the modern translation of the Heart Sutra doesn't really help with that matter, because it kind of points to the idea that emptiness is something, which obviously doesn't work, or that there is some plane of existence, there's some realm of experience which is emptiness. And we can realize emptiness, we can live in emptiness, and all these other different ways of interpreting it. But yeah, in my experience, and also in line with the Buddha's teachings, that's not really what the teachings on shunya, empty, or shunyata, emptiness, are really getting at. So I thought we could ask, well, what the heck is emptiness anyway? Everybody's telling me that form is emptiness, or that we are emptiness, and we've got an empty nature. Well, what does that mean? Because I feel pretty fixed a lot of the time, and I'm sure you do, and things feel pretty solid, and, you know, like, yeah, how does that relate to an empty truth, or a true nature that has emptiness at its heart? So the term emptiness in Buddhist literature or in Buddhist teachings, it's relatively modern, as in it's not really spoken about by the Buddha himself. It's more of a Mahayana interpretation. It kind of got developed and expanded and explored through all these different tools or schools in the Mahayana tradition, and it took on a life of its own. And while that's beautiful, and there's a lot of beautiful texts, including the Heart Sutra and the Prajnaparamita texts and others, many others, really it can be a little bit confusing and take us away from that deep teaching of seeing the empty nature of experience, or the empty nature of conditions, because really that's what it's all about. The Buddha said that these conditions, whatever the conditions are, anything that comes and goes is empty, is shunya, empty. But empty of what exactly? And it becomes really simple when we boil it down to those early teachings: empty of self. Empty of like self-existing, substantial, separate nature. The phenomena, the feelings, the thoughts, the choices, the experiences, the things of the world are empty of self. They are anatta, they are not self, they are anicca, they are impermanent, and they cause us to suffer when we don't see their empty nature, because we grasp at them. So when we're talking about emptiness, or the empty nature of experience, in order for it to free us, we want to see clearly that these things, they're not substantial, they are not separate, they do not have their own inherent existence. And the more that we see that in experience, the lighter our grip on the things of the world, the phenomena of the world, the less we attach to the phenomena, the conditions, expecting them to be permanent and satisfactory. So really, emptiness, if it's pointing to anything, it's pointing to a practice of letting go of the solidification of the phenomena of the world. So that's kind of different. Certainly at the beginning, when we're understanding it, it's kind of different from saying that everything's emptiness. There is this magical realm called emptiness that we can realize, because, it gives the wrong impression. Certainly in the beginning, it gives the wrong impression. We can find And I have found, and I know many teachers and many practitioners have found, that actually once we let go of that habit of solidifying the things and conditions of the world, then the empty nature of experience is experienced all of the time. It is real. I mean, real's quite a tricky word, but it's thus. It can be known in experience. And yeah, that it looks and feels and sounds a lot different from the mind-identified way of seeing the world, which is really rooted in substantiality and grasping and making things solid. So once a lot of that habit dies away, then we can, in a fashion, experience emptiness. But it isn't this thing that is separate from form, or separate from the things of the world. We notice that the things that come and go are empty of self-nature, and also in that empty, open, non-substantial now, we can also see that forms naturally arise and pass away. That just seems to be the way of things. And this is kind of what the Heart Sutra is pointing at when it says form is only emptiness. Emptiness is only form. So we're invited to let go of the solidification of things, the forms and the names of the world. And then when we see that and experience that, we also get to notice, well, that emptiness quite naturally arises and passes away as form. We don't have to do anything. So, when I'm walking across the street, I quite naturally see a car coming towards me and I make sure I don't step out in front of it. There's not just like this empty, open, wide, fractal mess of non-definition. It becomes impossible to talk about, but it's seen simultaneously and felt continuously as open, free emptiness, or empty. And also naturally forming and passing away, naturally arising and ceasing. And it is free from duality in that sense. And this is kind of pointing to the truth of non-dual teachings as well. The mind wants to say either the world is empty or there is form, there is emptiness or there's form. But really, when there's a letting go of the duality of emptiness and form, we notice the truth is both and neither. There is no clear definition between the two. In fact, there isn't the two. That was just an overlay the fixated mind liked to put on the world. We notice that actually things are quite naturally supple, non-fixated. There is no self in the conditions of things, and conditions continue to arise and cease. So when exploring emptiness, you're quite right to ask yourself, well, what is it? What is emptiness? Well, it's not a thing. It's not a separate realm that we get to live in. It's this experience right now. It is the truth of the coming and going of things without grasping and solidifying them into something that they're not. Separate, self-natured, substantial. These conditions of the world are not that. They are empty, they are shunya, and they can naturally arise and cease in forms. We don't need to do anything to make that happen. And in that sense, when we start to realize emptiness as truth, and that emptiness arising as form, and that form being empty in nature, we feel a deep sense of relief. We notice that we don't need to make anything happen. We don't need to cling to any of the things of the world. They naturally come and go of their own accord. And the tight, fixed, grasping grip we have on the world, it opens. We are able to let go and find a deeper peace. And that is the peace of realizing emptiness, or the empty nature of experience.